good friend of mine once said to me, and he probably stole it from someone, sales are vanity, profit is sanity, and cash flow is reality. Hi, I'm Andrew Jeffers, and this is the 2-Minute Accountant. How many businesses go bankrupt or down the tubes, not because they're not profitable, but because they didn't have enough cash to sustain the business going forward? Cash is king. We've all heard that a million times, but cash flow is what keeps you afloat when you're out there bobbing around in the ocean of business. The cash flow helps you, continues to move your business forward and keeps you alive. There's many ways to increase your cash flow. First and foremost, put some more cash in. But why would you do that? You might not have the cash, you might not be able to borrow the cash, and quite frankly, you might be flogging a dead horse, which means you shouldn't put any more cash in. Good money after bad. So the first and foremost point is, if you have a cash flow issue and the business is successful, then put cash into the business. If you don't have cash to put into the business, there's several things that you can do to increase the cash flow. Now, the first and foremost is, I'm assuming that you're a business where you give accounts to people and you give them invoices and you pay other people 30 days. If you can reduce the amount of debtors you have in the system, then you have an ability to get cash back into the business. Well, you ask me, how do I do that? Well, good point. The first point is have a really good policy. I mean, the best policy would be to get paid cash on delivery as soon as you do the deal. Have a credit card facility so people can use a credit card. Have a good policy where you chase people up regularly on it. Not just, oh my God, we need some money in the door, but have a policy put down in writing that gets followed 100%. This could look like, after 30 days they get a copy of the invoice, or the statement. After 45 days they get a phone call, follow up. After 50 days they get an email saying I referred to that phone call last week. After 60 days they get a letter of demand. After 70 days they get a letter of demand from an external person, and so on and so forth. But there's a predictability in terms of the way that you've actually gone about trying to get the money in the door. The other thing to increase your cash flow is if you have stock. The more stock you've got sitting on the shelves, the more you can get rid of it, the more cash comes in. You pay good money for that stock. You don't want it to become obsolete, and you don't want it stacking up shelf space. So get your product out, and maybe it's a sale. You've got to remember, if you've got a product that you're making $10 on, you've got another product you're making nothing on, and it's sitting on your shelves, then maybe to get cash in the door, lose $1 on that, make 10 bucks on this, but you get cash back in. Keep your business afloat. The other thing you can do too is discuss with your suppliers to try and get better terms. So you stretch them out a bit. Now look, I don't advocate that. I think everybody should pay their bills on time when they're due. We do that, the world goes round, everybody gets happy, and everybody survives. So the points about cash flow are, make sure that your business is worthwhile putting more money into. Try and increase your debt, or reduce your debtors to get the money back in the door. Get rid of some stock if it's not around. Try and get people to pay up front. Make sure that you've got a really good policy so that when you call people up, they're used to when you're actually going to call them to get the money. There's no surprises. And the last thing is, make sure that you have a good relationship with your suppliers, because even sometimes when your cash flow is not that good, you might be able to rely on some of those suppliers to help you through the process. Because you've got to remember, if they're a massive supplier, you're just as important to them as they are to you.